This week on Weekly Out Loud News. Gunna is out of jail. He took a plea deal. The World Cup is finally over. Is Messi the GOAT of soccer? And is he also the GOAT of all athletes of all times? When a brand does something that you don't like, is it F that brand or is it F that brand's management? For me, it's F Nike management. For Mysonne, it's F Nike. The Tory Lanez trial is underway and it's literally a full-on movie. And in quick round hot topics, P and Lil Romeo are beefing. Bishop Lamar Whitehead is arrested and charged for fraud, extortion, and false statements. OJ denies being Khloe's real dad. Diddy has a brand new baby girl. I feel bad for young Miami. Will Smith's new movie came out, Emancipation. How did it do in the box office? Harvey Weinstein is found guilty. Elon Musk puts out a poll, should he step down as the CEO of Twitter? Nick Cannon has finally come to the realization that he may be wearing himself too thin. And lastly, fun topics. When you vacation, would you rather go to a resort or would you rather go to an Airbnb or a local hotel and spend time locally? Let's get it. What up? It is your boy. Yes. WOLN News with your host, your boy, Trent Out Loud. Woo! What up, what up, what up? I'm sure you guys are used to all of my applauds and my pretend crowd out there. Anyways, WOLN News. Let's just jump right into it. The World Cup is officially over. I am not a big soccer fan, in true transparency. I probably watch soccer once every 4 years when the World Cup is on, and I don't watch much of the matches. But I mean, it is an amazing tournament. The fact that, the world comes together on a global stage. And yes, I know there's a lot of drama behind it, but we're not going to get into that right now. But it is nice to see, the world coming together to celebrate, in sport and to rep for your country. So it is a beautiful thing. I did catch the final. That was a crazy final game. I didn't watch the beginning of it, but then I saw that Argentina was leading 2-0, and then France came back and tied it 2-2. And I was like, all right, I want to see this. And I was rooting for, a better playoff because it sucks to lose on penalty kicks. But regardless, I mean, if you're going to have, a tournament once every 4 years and to come down to a tiebreaker, I mean, you can't ask for anything more exciting than that, right? So good game, really exciting. But of course, it brought up the conversation, is Leo Messi the GOAT in soccer? But then also, some people are talking about being him being the GOAT of all athletes. And I mean, look, I don't know enough about soccer to say if he's the greatest athlete ever of all times. I mean, that's hard. My personal top three, and I put this out on Instagram, and people are like, oh my gosh, they're all black athletes. Like, yo, this is my pick, but it does come with an asterisk beside it. It's like, I don't follow enough sports for me to be able to say who's the greatest athlete of all athletes. But I mean, for me, Michael Jordan, for yes, all his other accolades and all the other stuff that he's accomplished, but him being in 6 finals and never losing in a final, my opinion, sure, you want to talk about LeBron James, you want to talk about comparing statistics, sure, you could do that all day, but championships and the way that you played in championships means a lot to me personally. So Jordan is definitely up there in the conversation. Tiger Woods, what a lot of people don't realize is, yes, like Michael Jordan didn't win the most NBA championships of all basketball players. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus has won 18 majors and Tiger has only won 15. But what a lot of people don't maybe realize is that Tiger Woods, 15 majors, he won going into Sunday morning. So he's never been defeated while he's had the lead Sunday, which is the final. So to me, he's equivalent to Jordan because Jordan has never lost in the final. Tiger has never lost on a Sunday being in the lead. So those are my 2 top contenders. And then also Serena Williams. Say what you want about a male tennis player being able to beat her. Somebody said like this out of the 100 top male tennis players, they could beat Serena Williams one-on-one. Like it's crazy. First of all, you don't know if that's true, first of all. Second of all, Serena Williams won a major championship pregnant. So right there, she has Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan beat out, and every other athlete that's in that GOAT conversation. So for her being the greatest open era tennis player of all times, having the most championships in the open era, and being one behind I think it's the wooden racket era, with Margaret Court being 24 and Serena at 23. She's of course, the GOAT in tennis, and she's up there in the conversation for me personally of greatest athletes of all time for winning a championship pregnant, because none of these Brady, Messi, Pele, Tiger, Jordan, none of them did that ish pregnant. So shout out to Serena. Anyways, that's my top three, my personal top three. Shout out to Drake too. Everybody else talks about the Drake curse, and Drake put $1 million on Argentina. But I heard he also put it where that the points off of penalty kicks didn't count. So although that he picked Argentina to win and they won, he actually lost his $1 million. But anyways, shout out to Drake for breaking the Drake curse. Okay, on to the next hot topic. I don't want every episode to involve Nike, but they just do so much to irritate me that they always fall in here. Anyways, Nike called out StockX for selling fakes again this week. I just find it very ironic. I spoke last week about Nike partnering up with eBay to do the eBay dunk, and which is indirectly promoting eBay, where I believe that Nike should be partnering up with their account partners. There's a lot of great stores, that Nike could be partnering up with, and I don't know why they would choose to partner up with eBay. But I find it ironic that the week that they're partnering up with eBay, Nike calls out and it has like a press release about StockX selling fake shoes. So that just goes to show you that part of the reason why Nike, did that collabo with eBay was to further, fight and take a little jab at StockX. Also, in other Nike news, I should have separate segments of like this week in WOLN Nike news. I was on Street Politicians with Tamika, Mallory, and Mysonne. Actually, you know what? Give a little round of applause for me for being on that podcast. Tamika, Mallory, and Mysonne, Until Freedom, they do a lot of great work. I mean, they're today's civil rights leaders. We look at things like in the moment, and it's like, oh, who's Tamika Mallory and who's Mysonne? And you might not know, but these are two people that 30, 40, 50 years from now, they'll be making movies about them, and we'll be talking about them. I don't want to compare generations. I'm not comparing them to Malcolm X. I'm not comparing them to Martin Luther King or any of our, Rosa Parks are great leaders, that got us to this point. But Tamika Mallory, especially Tamika, has done a lot of stuff for the women's rights movement, the Me Too movement. I mean, she was really, I don't want to say not responsible for bringing the George Floyd murder to the global level, but she played a very big role in really, bringing that story to the forefront. Anyway, so I was really honored to be on their podcast. And one of the things that, myself and my son were, going kind of like a little bit back and forth on is like, he has an issue with Nike. He feels like Phil Knight and, what they did with Kyrie, and he feels like they don't respect their black customer, and he feels like it's a racist company. And he has started a slogan that's F Nike. And one of my questions for him is, and then like I left my shoes that are in the background here. I'm like, Mice, I definitely left it up there on purpose because, he's trying to get people to not wear Nikes and to cancel Nike. And so, but I asked him, I'm like, would it be more effective if we try to cancel or get rid of John Donahue, can't remember how to pronounce his last name, John Donahue, or and Phil Knight, who John Donahue is the current CEO, and Phil Knight is the co-founder and chairman. And I just feel like instead of saying F Nike, we should F management. I just posted that today. You know, should it be, you know, is it F Russia or is it F Putin? You know, is it F the US or is it F Donald Trump? Right? So it's like, are we going to attack Nike the brand? Should we like throw out all of our J's, throw out all of our shoes? Like, is it the brand? Is it the logo? Or is it the people that's managing and making the decisions for that logo or that shoe that you like to wear? And if I feel like, and I'm not saying that my son is wrong or anything. And like he said, it's like, Trent, keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And we're like termites, like attacking a house, and we make it crumble. And we both have the same goal. You know, Malcolm and Martin, they both had different, you know, paths to the civil rights movement. But so I'm fully in support of my son, you know, telling you guys not to buy Jordans and not to buy Nikes, and, you know, and support, and of course, like, support black businesses, you know, wear black, you know, footwear, find black footwear companies to buy from and support. Where I'm all for that. All I'm just saying is that for me, I love Nike. I love the brand. I love my J's. I love my Air Force Ones. And, you know, working closely with Nike for the past 15 years, I know that there's some good people in Nike, and I know it can't be all 40,000 people that's working there that are bad or that's racist or doesn't care about, you know, the black and brown and minority communities. But I definitely know that the decisions and the choices that Phil Knight and John Donahue are making are not in line with supporting minorities and black culture, and especially black businesses. I am going to do a full podcast on that coming soon. But yeah, man, for me, it's F Nike management. Anyways, this is a dope podcast. Check that out on the Black Effect iHeartRadio network, which is Charlemagne's network. So I feel really proud that I was like, yo, I was on Charlemagne's network, man. So, yo, shout out to that whole team, Tamika, and Mysonne and Charlemagne. It was an honor to be on that show. All right, moving on. Gunna is out of jail. He took a plea deal. Okay, I don't want to get too heavy into the, yo, did he snitch? Did he, you know, no snitching? He took a deal. You shouldn't talk to the feds, blah, blah, blah. I would just like to see our community start amplifying and having more to say about more positive things than another black man that's in jail, another black man that has a RICO trial, another black man that's snitching, another black man that's taking a plea deal. Like, that seems like, you know, if you're not in the hood and you're not in the streets, like, why are you like, oh my gosh, yo, he snitched, yo, he shouldn't snitch. Like, that's street code. We're citizens. Like, we're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we so involved in knowing what the rules of the streets are when 99.9% of you are not in the streets? You know, like, our music and our movies, I'm not saying all of our music and all of our movies, but the majority of our movies and the majority of our music is a glorification of street culture, drug dealing, you know, robbing, guns. And it's just like, I would just like there to be a time that comes where our culture is not so immersed in street and violent culture. You know, that when you talk about the Asian culture, you're like, oh my gosh, they're smart and they're this, and that's what their things revolve around, of like, oh my gosh, they're tech savvy. And, you know, of course, everybody's talking about anti-Semitism and the Jewish community. And I watched one of the guy from the Anti-Defamation League on The Breakfast Club, which is a really great interview. You guys should check it out. And he was talking about how Jewish people were, you know, 80, 90 years ago, Jewish people couldn't get jobs and they couldn't whatever. And, you know, they came to this country and they were, you know, treated unfairly, and they went out west and started the Hollywood that we know about. So now when you think about, you know, Jewish people and Jewish, you know, stereotypes, it's Jewish people are rich, Jewish people like own everything and whatever. And he was talking about how that kind of stereotype was negative and like Kanye was trying to, you know, perpetuate like, oh my gosh, Jewish people run the media, and the Anti-Defamation League, I was obviously trying to take away some of that stereotypes because it could be harmful. However, all I'm saying is that all these different cultures have they're known for these different things. And I just would like to see our Black and brown and minority culture be known for something else other than street culture, gang culture, and drug culture is what I'm saying. And that's what I see when so many people weigh in on the this no snitching rule, which is something that is in the streets, and most of those people commenting like, bro, you know, we ain't in the streets. So anyways, I hope you guys feel me on that one. Next, talking about court, Tory Lanez trial. Wow, this trial is crazy. I mean, I think we all knew that it was going to be, you know, pretty intense, but there is this one guy, I don't even know his name, but his Instagram is Lawyers for Work, and every blog site is using him to do like the play-by-play. He starts in the morning. He's like, okay, today in the morning, yo, Meg came on and she was this and da-da-da, and she sounded like she was lying. And then, oh my gosh. And he's like, and we took a break for lunch. And then he comes back and he's like, the afternoon, yo, this was crazy. This happened. And anyways, it's a really interesting Instagram account to follow. Some people are mad because now he is using the subscription model where he puts out, instead of putting like 4 videos a day, like play-by-play of what's going on in the court, he'll put out 2, and the other 2 are subscription. The subscription started out being $2.99 and now it's $4.99. But you know, just because he's a lawyer doesn't mean he's super rich or whatever. And you know, if he's has information and he wants to sell it, I mean, that's the whole point why Instagram puts subscriptions, so that, you know, content creators can start getting paid. Anyways, if you want to know like the details of that trial, follow Lawyers for Work. This guy is super dope and very smart too. He definitely knows what he's talking about. But I mean, it seems as though that Tory might get off if you listen to everything that's going on. Not that he's not like, it's not saying that he didn't do it, but you know, and I like to remind everybody out there that to convict somebody of murder. Sorry, not murder. To convict somebody, just anybody, in general, to have a guilty verdict. That's what I was trying to find. To find a guilty verdict or find somebody guilty, 12 jurors have to unanimously find him guilty. So it has to be undisputable evidence. It can't be like maybe I think so. So all the burden of proof is on the prosecution, right? So all the defense has to do is prove reasonable doubt, because to convict somebody of a guilty charge, it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. And it just seems like there's a lot of doubts. It seems like there's a lot of like holes in the case. So I don't know, if you ask me, it's tipping to Tory being found not guilty, but we'll see what's going on. But it's really good trial to follow. That's going to be a movie one day, trust me. In some sad news, Stephan, Twitch boss, I think he's one of the co-hosts, or I mean, he's the DJ and dancer, but you know, he was definitely played an active, you know, co-hosting role on an Ellen DeGeneres show. You know, I saw everybody this week posting, checking on your friends and mental health, and well, first of all, rest in peace, Twitch. But I just think that, like, whenever something like this happens, people say things that they are soon going to forget. And as you guys know, I'm a big, huge mental health advocate. I do therapy at least, you know, twice a month, sometimes three times a month. I'll do it weekly sometimes if I'm really stressed or have anxiety or I feel depressed. But I just think that whenever something like this happens, people start really thinking about their mental health, and they start thinking about their friends or somebody who might be depressed or somebody that might be, going through something. And it's just sad that it takes somebody committing suicide for us to kind of like normalize it, you know, but then outside of that time, people are not so keen on the mental health conversation. So I just would, tell everybody out there to just remember how you felt this week, and remember the people that you checked on, and check on them a month from now, and check on them 2 months from now, and 6 months from now. And, somebody that who's doesn't have to, and anyways, I don't want to get into a big, mental health, podcast, and I am going to have Dr. Alfie on, who I've been on her podcast before, and who's a brilliant doctor and therapist. But depression is not somebody who can't get out of their bed. Depression could be on the person at the club who's partying and who has the biggest smile on their face, and you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I was one of them, when I was going through, losing money and, almost losing my my stores in 2018 and 19, and losing a lot of money, and, daily, and bankruptcy trustees, and, having to close down stores. When people read about it in my book, they're like, yo, I just remember you partying so much. I remember you drinking, always being so happy. I was like, yeah, I was doing that because if I had to face what I was really had to face, I would, jump off the roof, So depression doesn't always look as what we stereotypically think it is. So all I'm saying is reach out to somebody that you even think might be depressed, and don't wait for it to be too late. All right. One of the things I'm going to do, and I'm going to add to this week's segment, let me know if you guys like it. We're going to do a quick round of hot topics where I'll talk about some news, but I won't go super deep into them. So a couple of topics I found. Harvey Weinstein found guilty of rape and faces up to 24 years in jail. I didn't even know this case was going on. I thought he was found guilty years ago. I think this was one of the cases that started the Me Too movement 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't know who's heard it or who's not, but I was surprised to find out he has been found guilty and faces up to 24 years in jail. Master P, Lil Romeo are beefing. Y'all remember Lil Romeo and Bow Wow? I mean, we all know Bow Wow because he's a little bit more in the news, and he's stayed a little bit more relevant, but I don't know. Lil Romeo called out his dad, and I just find it's those two were growing up. It's just Lil Romeo and Bow Wow. I just find it funny that they're beefing. I hope they got over whatever they're beefing about. Sometimes family. It's 2022, right? Some family issues could spill out into the media. Everyone's like, oh, you should keep that at home. And sometimes somebody's not listening to you or hearing your cries. And apparently now Master P is okay, Romeo, I'm sorry, let's talk, or whatever. Apparently he didn't pay him for the things that he needed to be paid for, and now he's going to pay him back. So anyways, shout out to Lil Romeo and Master P, and hopefully they worked that out. Bishop Lamar Whitehead was arrested for fraud, extortion, and false statements. Quick thing about this is that everyone was like, yeah, man, you guys are surprised that he is being found guilty for fraud and extortion. He looks like a hustler. He looks like this. Just because he's a pastor a black pastor that has chains and Gucci outfits and, a walk-in closet and all this stuff. There's a lot of white pastors out there, a lot that have jets and mansions. And it doesn't mean that they're stealing from their congregation. Now, I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I just feel because he is in a fully Gucci'd print suit and he's super flamboyant with his money, doesn't mean that the way that he got that was through illegal ways just because he's a black pastor. So, I'm not even saying that white people are accusing him of that. It's more black people that are yeah, duh. But I just think don't judge a book by its cover, man. He could have inherited that money. He could have had a business and he, I don't know, sold his company and then he decided he wanted to be a pastor. You don't know that man's story. You can't just judge him because he looks the quote unquote, I don't even want to stereotype, but anyways, I just thought that was interesting. OJ comes out and denies that he's Khloe's real dad. This is funny to me. Everyone's always said that, Khloe and OJ is Khloe's real dad. Khloe doesn't even look black. Just because she's taller than the other Kardashians, it's ridiculous. But anyways, OJ came out and fully denied it. Elon Musk puts a poll out and asks if he should be removed as the CEO of Twitter. And I think it was close to 60% said yes. And I just found this ironic that, say what you want about Elon Musk, like he's obviously is a smart man. He's, pretty brilliant. And I just find it funny that here's a man that has done amazing in business. The man's the richest man in the world. And I don't know if he's the richest person ever. He might be the richest person ever. But I just find it funny that this man has like SpaceX, he's this and he's that, and he's like he's focused on trying to like take people to Mars, and he's having trouble running a social media platform. I'm just saying, like it's social media. So, sometimes we look at things from the outside and we're like, yo, this would be simple. That would be easy. And he's coming in and he bought that thing for $40 billion. I'm sure he just thought like, I could just run it in 2 seconds and make it profitable. So I thought that was funny. Nick Cannon comes out and says maybe he spread himself too thin by having 12 children. And I mean, look, you got dragged and people were like, it took you 12 kids to realize that that's 12 soccer, sport events, ballet, school, this or whatever. And they're not all in the same house. Like, listen, at least he realized now. But yes, I kind of agree. Like it took you 12 to realize, but shout out to Nick. Like at the end of the day, you don't hear him, being a bad dad or, a father that's not there for his kids or whatever. So, give that man some grace. If he wants to have 12 kids, let him have 12 kids, but at least he's realized. So hopefully now he'll slow down and try to give as much love and attention to those 12 babies as he can. And Diddy has Puff Daddy. Diddy, Mr. Love, has a new baby girl. This guy is like 55, 56 years old, having babies with like 26-year-old. Like this guy is going to be a player for life. So anyways, shout out to Diddy for having a new baby girl. And shout out to Young Miami, man. She's getting dragged, being like called a side chick. Like I like Young Miami, man. I would have liked to have seen Diddy have a kid with Young Miami. Like something about her, I like her, man. So shout out to Young Miami. She is not a side chick, okay? She can't be a side chick. She's Young Miami. She can't be a side chick. And lastly, in quick topics, Will Smith came out with Emancipation, which he says is not a slavery movie. It's a freedom movie, but it's really a slave getting freedom. And that picture, that's one of the most, they said, I think it's like the first viral picture, whatever. I think his name is Peter with the lashes on his back. And the movie is about that man and that slave that's in that picture. And it cost Apple $120 million to make that movie. And it came out. I did some research. It came out in like 8 or 9 theaters. They say it only made $3,000 or $4,000 per theater, but they really weren't trying to do a theatrical release. They just put that so it can win awards or be in the conversation for awards. Is really about the stream on Apple Play, but Apple Play hasn't released how much that movie has streamed. But it's the first release since the Oscar slap. So I was really interested to see how that movie would do. Come to find out that we're not going to know till Apple tells us. But shout out to Will Smith for trying to make a comeback. All right, the last topic, which is going to be my fun topic. I put this on my Trent Out Loud Instagram. When you guys go on vacation, do you prefer to go to resorts or do you prefer to go to like an Airbnb or stay in somewhere local? Like it could be a hotel, but it's you staying local with the people. The majority of the people said a resort. And look, I love resorts. I get it. It's fun. It's easy. It's safe. I totally get that. But if you get off a plane and then get on a tour bus, brings you to a resort, and you stay on said resort and take maybe like another tour around the island and 1 or 2 days out of the week that you're there, did you really see that island or did you see that resort? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am so on the Airbnb, staying local, getting to know the people and the food. Like the food on resorts, I don't care how many restaurants there are. Oh, there's Italian, there's Asian, there's this, there's that. Like, the food is trash at resorts. And even if you do find one good, you have to have that one good meal or that one good cuisine for the 7 days. Like it's crazy, or however long you stay there. But it's yeah, man, for sure I'll go back to a resort again one day, but I am loving just being with the people, you know, and also you support more the real local people when you go to the local places and visit, you know. But you get to see the island, you know. You can rent little scooters, you can rent the car, and of course, like, you don't go walking at 3 o'clock in the morning, but there's places in Montreal, there's places in Toronto that I wouldn't go walking around 3 o'clock in the morning. So you have to be safe, right? Like, I don't wear my chains and my watches, and you just go out there. And you know, I've had great experiences. I know a lot of people, I meet a lot of people, you know, that have done that. So I would encourage you, you people who voted for resort, again, not totally saying I'll never go back to a resort again, but I encourage the people that love going to resorts to go locally. There's local beautiful beaches, beautiful people, and I'm telling you, the food is unbelievable and so cost effective. I found like this barbecue kind of like hut place. Listen, man, I had pork and chicken wings and rice and for like $8 Canadian. Like, it was nuts. I was eating and drinking. Like, the money that you put into resort, like daily, you could spend half that. And alcohol was not really expensive. So that all you can eat, all you could drink at a resort, like, I'm only paying 2 G's. You could pay for your flight, get a good price on that flight, you know, you don't have to stay. Well, anyways, listen, if you want that whole like crazy, you know, my Airbnb was just nice and basic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not in your room most of the time. So anyways, you want to go and see islands, you want to go experience places, you want to go and see that place and say, hey, I've really visited that place. Try to go locally, be with the people, learn about that place, and you'll come back fulfilled, and you'll definitely come back full. And you maybe put some weight on, because I'm telling you, that food in those islands from those local, you know, huts and cooking, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. Anyways, that's it for this week's WOLN News. Thank you for tuning in. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Yeah, I'm out. Woo! Hey. Woo! Hey. All right, I'm out. Peace!